going to show you now how to replace an inner tube. So here we are, we've got a flat wheel. So the first thing you're going to have to do is take the tube out. So starting off by just removing your valve cap and just giving the valve a last little squeeze just to get any of the last air out. And then if you have one of these little lock nuts over the top of it, just unwind that all the way down, take it off and set that aside. Now the next step is going to be to take the tyre off. So what you need to do is remove the bead and get that all over the outside of the rim. So you're going to be going around the rim and just popping the tyre off the rim and just making sure it's all nice and loose. There is a bead that sits around here and some hooks on the inside of the rim that the tyre will sit up against when it's inflated. So you just want to press that together and loosen it all up so the tyre is nice and loose on the wheel, or as loose as you can get it. And before you start removing, just push that valve up, because where the valve connects to the tube, there is a little bit of wide, just kind of more rubber there from the glue that they use to attach the valve. So starting opposite the valve, I'm just going to start by pinching and rolling the tube back, and you can see there that I've got a nice amount of that tyre bead and getting that over the rim like that. And just holding that there. If you do have a really tight tyre, you might need to get a tyre lever, and using the tyre lever, just pulling the tyre across as far as you can and just getting the lever in under the bead and popping it over the outside of the rim. And again, if it is really tight, using a tyre lever, you can repeat the process, putting a second tyre lever in, about a spoke or two away, depending on how many spokes you have in the wheel. But, you know, 10 centimetres or so would be fine. Getting under there and just levering that over the rim. Now this tyre is nice and loose, so I'm not going to use tyre levers the whole way around. So once you've got a nice little section there, you can just start massaging the tyre off the wheel. Now, when you're running your fingers around the inside of the tyre there, you do want to be a bit careful, just depending on what caused your puncture. You don't want to spike your fingers or anything on any sharp objects in there. So now I've got that tyre off the whole way around, I'm just going to simply rip that tube out. Now you just want to take note of where the tyre is on the rim, because now with your tube you're going to be looking for the hole in the tube and lining up where that was on your tyre. Now I'll show you how to do that in another video, but for now I'm just going to show you how to just install the tube. So leaving the tyre over the rim, I'm going to take my new tube, just removing again that valve cap and the nut off the end of it. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of air into this. No pressure at all, just enough air to give it the shape of the tube. And just closing the valve just so that air doesn't try and escape there. So there you go, you've just got the tube inflated, not like just enough so it's filled up. And then on the tyre, find your valve hole, and the first thing you're going to do is just pop the valve straight into the valve hole there. Now trying to keep the valve nice and straight, you don't want it to be coming in on an angle there because it can damage or puncture the tube. Now straight away, I'm just flipping the outside of the tyre back over that part of the tube and just working my way around, and just at the moment all I'm doing is just pushing the tube into the tyre. I'm not trying to send it the whole way across, but just get it so the tube is going the full circumference of the tyre. Now, if you've got little points like this where the tyre is a little bit folded up, you just want to kind of move it around so the tube is sitting nice and evenly around the wheel. You can let a little bit of air out if it's getting a bit tight for you there. So once you've done that, again starting at the valve here, just before you start trying to put the tyre actually over the rim, just push the tube across, kind of pushing it up into the tyre and then over so it's sitting in the middle of the rim. Now, as what that does for you, you can see there, I mean you can still see the tube a little bit, but you can see how much space now you have around the edge of that tyre there. And that space there is essential for when you start putting the outside of the tyre over, that you don't have any tube in the way that's going to pinch. So now starting opposite the valve again, a lot of people start at the valve. If you start opposite the valve, that tight area around where the valve is that I spoke about in the tube, that much kind of space is actually going to really help you as far as having the tyre as loose as possible around there. So I'm just going to start flipping a section over and just pinching it in and just evenly going around and just pushing that bead over. Now because there's a bit of air in there, it's going to start getting a bit tight here. So just keeping the valve nice and straight. I'm just going to let that air out. And using your thumbs, flipping that tyre over. Now, the same technique as I showed you with the tyre levers earlier before, you can, instead of using your thumbs, I'll just take that off for a minute. Instead of using your thumbs, if you get to your really tight point at the end here, just get the tyre lever under there and flip that over. Now you do want to be careful using these tyre levers that they're not pinching on the tube, because then you will have to start again. Cool. So, there you go, your tube is inside the tyre now. So the last check you want to do is just wiggle this tyre side to side here and make sure you can't see any tube poking out the bottom of the rim. So that way, there you go, you know the tube is all nice and tucked up inside the tyre. And once that's done, get your pump and pump it back up. Now you don't want to pump it up all at once, you kind of want to stop once you get to about halfway. So this tyre here is a road tyre, so I'm going to pump it up to, let's say, 90 psi. So here we go, I'm at about 40 and I'm just going to take that off and just have a look and just make sure that the tyre is staying on the rim the whole way, because if you see any points that are trying to pop off, then you want to stop and let the air out again and reseat that section of the tyre. So that's all good, that's coming up nicely, so I'll just put the last of it, tyre pressure in there. And there we go, 90 psi. So I've done the valve up. It's really important that you do this valve up here. Then your little nut. Valve cap. You don't have to put your valve cap on, but it can be nice to keep dirt out. And then just have a quick check and just make sure that it isn't trying to pop off again. Still all good. That one's done. It is ready to go back in your bike.